Welcome to Mind Pioneer, the podcast where host Scott Donnell interviews experts in health, wellness, and technology.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We are simulcasting today to a lot of different people, families, biohackers, functional medicine folks, everybody, because we have my friend Serena Poon today, and it is going to be amazing. She is a celebrity chef. She's a certified nutritionist, a Reiki Master. She's a program, and it's called the Culinary Alchemy. Is that right?
Yeah, it's my method, basically. It's what I do in my practice, Culinary Alchemy.
So her program, her method is called Culinary Alchemy. She has been a celebrity chef to Hollywood's elite, Jerry Bruckheimer, Kerry Washington, P. Diddy, which is probably my favorite person on the list, and tons of other high profile clients. Her methods have been all over the world. She is an incredible social media influencer. But when I say that, what I really mean is her content is what people really love to hear. She uplifts people. She makes their lives better in all sorts of ways, not just food, but with their energy, with their lifestyle, with their elevating consciousness. And I can't wait to have this conversation. So, Serena, welcome to the podcast.
Yay! Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you and so excited we get to share space here. So thank you so much for having me on. Oh, and in case he hears it, because I have been talking about this device, it's Jerry Bruckheimer, but everyone gets it wrong at least once. So
Bruckheimer. I said
yeah.
Bruckheimer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jerry.
Jerry, it's okay. It's okay. We all still love you.
So, Serena, you and I met at the Consumer Health Summit.
Yeah.
Which is our good friend, Michael Fishman. This is, 70 to 100 of the top doctors, biotech entrepreneurs, and all around health influencers and authorities on health topics around the world. Friends like Jim Quick, Dave Asprey, Mark Hyman, Mansour Muhammad, a bunch of incredible people are in this group. And we've all just sort of become friends trying to help educate the world to have better health all around. Yeah. So that's where we met. And it was fast friends right away. Mm-hmm. I think the first time we met, you were like, how are you running a bunch of businesses? And I was like, I don't know. I just try to figure it out. And you're like, please help me.
Yes, no, because you're doing such incredible things. And I talk about happy pretty much daily, multiple times a day. I mean, when I get excited about something, people think I'm a spokesperson or I don't know, I'm just like the biggest cheerleader. But when I find something that I really love, that I believe in, that I know works, I just can't stop talking about it. So along with talking about happy, I get to talk about you and all the incredible things that you're doing in the world. So it was just so cool when we met, and then you were listing all these incredible things you're doing for kids and just for the world. I was like, how do you do all these things and just still look so vibrant, and you've got so much energy, and it was just great. You're just your own spokesperson. Well, you are clearly a vision of what it is that you create for the world. So it was easy.
Well, thank you. It's been really fun to get to know you and hang out and share tips and ideas.
Yeah.
And everyone has their unique ability, right? And, maybe mine is more in the simplifying, creating self-managing company world. Yours is certainly in the educating, especially when it comes to food and energy and how these different things affect your body. Yeah. You're probably in my opinion, you're one of the world's foremost minds around how things affect your body. Whether it's food or exercise or energy or mindset, all those types of things. And you definitely have one of the most incredible audiences out there, people who share things with you, personal things that they trust you inherently. And it's a very intimate audience it's very rare. And so I'm very excited to sort of dive into some of this, because a lot of people wonder, what kinds of things cause an audience to care? Okay. And this is more of a marketing thought here. So I want to start there, and then we'll get into the food and your lifestyle and all those kinds of things. So since we're talking about the business stuff first, I want to hear this. So how did you grow your audience? Like who is your audience? Where did they come from? And how would you categorize them? And why is it such an intimate audience?
So you know, it's so funny, Scott, because I've been getting this question so much lately. I'm creating a mastermind program for it, and actually a course that we're launching next month specifically for entrepreneurs and practitioners in the health and wellness space.
Yeah.
Because you know, your geniuses are so much more about the product and the service and healing and doing it in a way that, as you say, can really build an audience and a community around it may not be what your energy is most spent. Like that might not be where your focus is. And so because I've gotten this question so many times, I'm creating a course for it with a partner of mine, and we'll have a mastermind as well. So I'll fill you in on that. But I think, you know, one of the most important things is story, you know, and I'll dive more into this in the course and the mastermind, but it's really about your story and your journey. And that is really what connects you to people. So when I'm online, as you had a chance to see, because I was able to feature you to my audience on an Instagram Live, which is almost really like our show now, I'm talking to the community as if I'm talking to one of my dearest friends. I'm talking to my community as I would talk to you, as I would talk to a family member, and I think that is something that is not really, you don't really teach that. That's an energy, you know, and lucky for me, I'm already working with energy all the time. It's always top of mind between my practices, my wellness practices, but also it's built into my practice of culinary alchemy. You know, that's integrative and functional nutrition, but also spiritual nutrition. So I'm always connecting to my audience, whether it's 20, 200, or 2,000 people, you know, as if I'm just talking to you. And I think that makes a really big difference. And when I first started to build my audience, which was kind of, you know, it wasn't fully intentional until I had already kind of had an account for a little while. And I was just sharing what was important to me. So I was sharing about food and recipes that were healthy. Obviously, they reflected why I got into wellness in the first place, which is, you know, because my parent, we can dive into that a little bit later.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear next, but this is good.
Yeah. So, you know, I was sharing what I learned and what I did, and that's still to this day what I do. You know, it's I went to Consumer Health Summit and I met these incredible people like Scott, Donnell, and this and that, and here's what I learned, you know, and here's a super cool device, or here's just insight that I got during the summit. And I share that with my community. So I started doing that, and I just had 5 categories that reflected me. And it was, you know, food and nutrition, family, just positivity, you know, kindness. I was sharing quotes, and quotes are powerful, you guys. That's one of the things that really help build your account. Travel, because it came late to me. I didn't start traveling until I was older, and it profoundly changed my life. And it was like school outside of school. And so sharing that, my adventures, and then that was kind of it. You know, I'd share a little bit about my family, food, nutrition, and that was kind of the cycle. And so I realized people were engaging, and that's one of the most important things that you can do to build an audience, is that you engage. But you really have to try and engage. Well, it's not even try. You really have to engage authentically, and that may be hard to maintain as your account gets bigger and bigger. And so we know, you know, there's sometimes you have other people that can help respond for you, but when you're building it authentically and really engaging, whether it's 5 people, those 5 will grow into 15, will grow into 50 to 500, because everybody has friends, you know, whether they're friends in real life or online, like we're all friends. So it sounds trite, but those are just like your basic bullets. Of course, I have a whole bunch of like tips and things that I've learned over the years. That's in the course, but I can always, we'll get offline and I'll tell you.
Well, and we'll put everything in the show notes too. And this is, I love this, because you're talking about engagement and just loving and caring about the audience and engaging them. And I usually never do this, but I'm trying to learn the habit of doing it. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I want you to pause. I want you to go to Instagram. and I want you to look up Serena's Instagram, Serena Poon, Poon, and I want you to follow her immediately. You will thank yourself over and over, and you're going to thank me, and I'll look like a hero because I told you to go there. She has,
and it's a Chef Serena Poon.
Chef Serena Poon. There you go. So head over there right now. If you're listening on your mobile device, you can close this and still listen while you open that up and follow. So it's easy to do. But your hundreds of thousands of people are engaged with you. They love what you talk about. They care about the things that you say. And I do think it comes from your heart. That is what makes people really love the things that you say, the people you interview, the tips you share. There's a book by Joey Coleman, who actually I think is another friend from Consumer Health, or maybe he spoke there last year, but he wrote a book called Never Lose a Customer Again. And he starts with this premise of, how would you like to, as a business owner, never lose a customer again as long as you live? And the whole premise of it is love. How can you share love, your love for the customer? First of all, if you don't love your customers, you shouldn't be in the business. Like, if you don't care about their well-being and their future and you're other oriented, don't do the business. It's a ridiculous idea. It's not a passion. In fact, it's just a money grab, or it's stupid. So this book, Never Lose a Customer Again, creates this 100-day process of exactly what you're saying, is being authentic, showing how much you love your customers and your care for them. And that's how a life gets set. And that's like marketing at its core, by the way.
Yeah. And, I think there's certain strategic things that, looking back, I was unaware that I was doing, but are so important as you're building an audience, depending on what kind of brand you are, obviously, is that have always been super selective about other brands or my partnerships. My partnerships and collaborations, they really have to be in alignment. So when you go through my account, you don't see 500 products, because that's just not me. And so when I do talk about one, my audience pays attention. And so I think that's important if you're building. And then I think if you're a brand, you always want to add value to whatever it is that you're sharing. Even if you have a product that you're really trying to promote and push, it's always about the value add and what information that you're giving, and making sure that it skews, so it's more like maybe 60-70% value at first, and then 30-40% selling. And then you read your audience, and then those numbers and the percentages can change. But I think you always lead with just giving that and over delivering.
I love it. You don't need to know everything about business to love people. That's my favorite thing about business, actually. The best business people I've ever met. And I know we've talked about this too, because sometimes you're like, I don't know how to do it all. Well, I look at you and I'm like, you know how to love people. Like, I know you as a friend. I know how you treat people. You know how to love people better than 99.999% of the whole world. And that is why so many people flock to you, is you care about them. And it's so authentic. And so, anyone listening to this, I know, because part of our listeners is a huge group of entrepreneurs, a huge group. And if I can encourage you just by watching Serena talk to people in person, it's that she just cares more than anybody else. And she treats them with such kindness. And that's really what is, at the end of the day, it's what makes success in business, but it's also what people care about, right? Like, your reputation is the only thing you can't lose. You could lose a house, you could lose all your money, you could lose a finger. You can't lose your reputation. And I think the best way to do that in business is to have love for other people and empathy and care. And yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much. I want a hug.
Okay, next summit.
Yeah.
I'll see you. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to hear, now that we've talked about business for all of our entrepreneurs, I want to hear about your business. So tell me about your story. We even have a lot of kids listening to this. How did you get into this world of, first, the chef world, right? Tell me the story of your family and share this with the audience.
Yeah, so thank you for asking. So I really got into, health and wellness and food. I've always been a foodie, love to eat. I've always been a daddy's girl and my dad loved to cook. And what happened was, when I was in college, our daddy was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. And so, it was what his grandpa had also had. So he kind of knew he already had a genetic predisposition for it. But, both my parents were full time. They had 2 kids. My sister was, about to go to college in the next year. So he had picked up an extra job. And I think it was a combination of stress, stress and genetics, and also not having, all the education and all the information and awareness of options, right? And so, and also not really having a healthy level of self-care. So he was diagnosed stage 4, and he fought, so hard, and he's just, just such a warrior. And he stayed with us a little over a year, when really it probably should have been 5 months. And then he transitioned, and it was a really tough time. And 2 months after he passed at 48, our mama was diagnosed with cancer, and she was 45. And there's no history of cancer at all on her side of the family. So the doctors figured it was stress. It was super aggressive, a rare form of ovarian cancer. And so basically during that time, just everything shifted. I started looking at plants and like herbs, and I'd already was studying nutrition in college just because of interest, because I was supposed to be an attorney, really supposed to go to law school. And I started looking at all these other alternative ways, because my parents obviously had both gone through chemo and radiation. They were both drinking Chinese tea, so it was still, Eastern traditional Chinese medicine, but it wasn't at least for my dad, it didn't help him. So that's what really kind of got me going. And then seeing what happened with our dad, our family, all of us, and then my mom after, I just realized that like I didn't want anyone else to go through this. I didn't want anyone else to go through the suffering of a battle with cancer, and then their caretakers. Like that ended up being the next half of my life, or the next chapters of my life, which is my own health. And I had kind of developed so much inflammation during that time period, because it became my mission to just like make sure everyone else that I loved, everyone that I loved was happy and healthy, which is wonderful. And why I went to culinary school to study, food as medicine and really dive into all of that. But I also didn't factor in self-care, even though I watched what happened with my parents. And I think it happens so often with caretakers, or even if you're not, but if someone that you love is not well, you will do anything for them.
Yeah.
I think if someone that you love isn't well for a prolonged period of time, it really wears on you. And so we forget ourselves, because it's so important for us to get them better. So then it just kind of became this journey. I went to culinary school, studied all kinds of nutrition, which is thinking, gosh, if we knew these things, if we knew these different modalities, I probably was like a very early biohacker, because I was looking at, light therapy, and I was doing cryo before it was a thing, and, like PMF, lymphatic ultrasound, which is just all these different things way back, I think before biohacking was even a term, but but so that's kind of how it started, and I ended up having some of my own health issues because of all that stress and lack of self-care, a lot of inflammation in my body. Ended up having to have a surgery to remove damaged tissue from that inflammation. Got MRSA, deadly staph infection from that surgery. And then I had a journey over the next 7+ surgeries, 8 years, pretty much just trying to get this MRSA out. And I learned a lot just in my own journey that I put into my practice. But I almost died after one of those surgeries. It was pretty gnarly.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear about your father and your mother with cancer. And
Mom's still here though. She's still here. Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Dad's still here too, in an energetic way. But thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, and having family go through pain is, they talk about secondhand smoking. There's definitely secondhand grief and secondhand stress and secondhand everything. People carry things internally. They carry things on their back.
Yeah.
And especially when things are really hard, like what you went through, I can only imagine what that did to your body.
And, oh yeah, body was, it was pretty train wrecked in a lot of ways. But you know, the body's an incredible healing machine. And I remember there was a book on it was a coffee table book. It was one of my dad's books. My dad was a microbiologist, and it was called uh, the Incredible Machine or something. It didn't say healing, but Incredible Machine. And so I think even with my journey, it's just as a testament to how we are, how amazing we are, how we're built,
Yeah.
how our bodies know to heal. But it needs help, sometimes some guidance, some tools. And if we're helping our body and guiding our bodies along the way, our body usually knows what to do.
Mm.
So I feel that that's a big part of why I went to Reiki, and that's, that's sort of at the core of my philosophy as well. Just seeing what I've been through, seeing what other people have gone through, power of the mind. So it was a tough journey. I learned a lot, and it's made me a better healer, teacher, and better at what I do.
Wow. Yeah. And it shows, it totally shows with your empathy and care for others. So, wow. What are some tips maybe? Cause I know that people that are, I know people personally who listen to this show that
Mhm.
have been through or are going through as we speak, some very tough times. And so anything from the pandemic last year that
Yeah.
made the whole world stress out,
Yeah.
to sickness and other health issues and stress from work and kids. There's a lot of things that cause so much inflammation and stress and so many. I mean, the list goes on about what stress does to your body. But what are some tips? And I know we're probably going to get into Culinary Alchemy, but I want to hear, just like, if someone's going through this, like, what's your first, second, third, like, way to give them an idea to help?
So, stress has been a huge topic, right? Stress, anxiety. Actually, I have another program, and it's really for just every day, just to kind of de-stress you. It's a stress less, sleep better. Slim down in 28 days. I'll give you the information as well. But something super simple, and what I talked about a lot last year when it comes to stress and anxiety is you really want to try and ground yourself. So there's simple ways that you can do that. Breath work is incredibly powerful. And so I use the 444, which some people call it box breathing, but I have a little twist to the way I do it, which is, when you're taking in that 4 counts of deep breath through your nose, you're visualizing that light is coming through the top of your head. And that light is filling you up, like coming to the top of your head, going all the way down slow, down through your body, going through all your energy centers, all the way down to your root chakra. And now your whole body is just light, just like visualize like there's this beautiful, beautiful light that's filling you up. And then you hold that light, that breath, to the count of 4. And then you release it very slowly. And as you release, you are calming your system down, you're detoxifying, you're just releasing everything that doesn't serve you, all those feelings, all those thoughts, and you're releasing it through your mouth to the count of 4. And then you pause for 4 counts. And then you do it again. So you breathe in the light, 2, 3, 4, hold the light, 2, 3, 4, release slow, 2, 3, 4, and then you repeat. And then you do this like 3, 4 times, and it's going to calm you down. It's going to shift your system into this parasympathetic state. And then you're going to have a moment to just have some clarity. Now you've also put oxygen into your system. I mean, energetically, physically, it's doing all this for you. So you can do that, breath work. Meditation, obviously, is a huge thing. And some people really have a hard time with it, because especially if you're kind of in an anxious state constantly, it's hard. So I would say just start with a couple minutes a day. Start with like 5. But the biggest thing is people have a hard time getting present, that people have a hard time being still. So when the thoughts come in, just allow it. If you're sitting there, set a timer. Ideally, you can do it for 15 or 20. Let's say your 5 or 10 is going to not stress you out to set aside. Then just like if your thoughts come in, just allow it. Like have a thought, have a mantra, have a mantra that you say like, I am calm, I am safe, I am protected, or just something that resonates with you. Like if you were to say it, you're like, yes, that's what I need. That's what you say. So when the thought comes in about your kids or work or that email, let it come in. Don't judge yourself for it, and then go back to that phrase. I am okay. I am safe. That's something that's simple to do, and you can try it a couple times a day. Having a gratitude list,
I
and
love
then
it. I love it.
really easy things. And then
And
if
by
you
the way, for everyone listening, I just did it while she was talking about the breathing, and I immediately feel better. Like I had some hard conversations earlier today, and it was like go, 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 meeting, meeting, meeting. And I had that time. My brain went to like literally just flushing it out. Like the light filled my body and the dark energy left. And I literally opened my eyes and I just like feel like way better. Like my stomach doesn't hurt. Like I just feel much more at peace. And that was like 30 seconds. Like imagine.
yeah, 30 seconds. That was it.
Yeah. So keep going. But I just wanted, if you weren't watching this on video and you're listening to this, it would be a great thing to rewind a minute and do that right now.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad. I can feel your energy shift too with it. So, and it's something that we can all do anytime. You don't need anything for it. You don't have to buy anything. But if you're talking about maybe some more tangible, it would be really try to reach for an anti-inflammatory diet. People say, what is that? And that I go for colors, greens. I go for greens. Greens are filled with, like really nutrient dense phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals, like those green vegetables. Not as much fruits, but vegetables. And it really helps to kind of alkalize your body. That would be an easy thing. And I talk a lot about root vegetables, things that ground you. So that's more about culinary alchemy. I can dive into it a little bit later, but anything that comes from the earth. So carrots are great. We think carrots are just carrots because they're everywhere, but carrots come from the earth and they have earth energy. And if you have some carrots, which is grounding for your sacral, your adrenals, which is usually what gets stressed out when we're all stressed out, it can be really soothing for those organ systems, but also that chakra. So your lower chakras are smooth with those type of foods as well. We can dive more into that.
Yeah, that I want to, but my favorite thing about what you just said is that you connected stress to food.
Yeah.
And this is why it's so interesting talking to nutritionists and chefs, professional world-class chefs such as yourself, because they think of food so much more than just something you throw in your body 3 times a day that gives you some energy. Food is medicine, and people need to understand that now more than ever, when so much food has so much processed goods in it. It has so much, I don't even want to get into gluten and GMOs and all of the different pesticides used and all the different things that are, my next door neighbor, they have 5 chickens and they're super loud and squawky and annoying, but we have fresh eggs every morning, and
so awesome. Yeah.
And they're like neon, like you said, get color. Like they're like neon yellow. You can tell they're unbelievably like fresh and good. And then you go to the store and you buy like the huge pure white, whatever they are, styrofoam box eggs. And they're literally over twice as big. Same chicken. And it's twice as big. And you're like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah.
What is in this egg? What was pumped into that chicken to get an egg that's over twice as big, that looks completely bleached white? And, I have visuals of chickens and, in random places. It's just crazy. And so I agree so much with what you're saying. Like another quick story. I was with my doctor here in town. We were talking about hormones and balancing testosterone and different things like that. And, obviously he is, and I am against over injecting, right? Because a lot of guys might over inject testosterone or other hormones, and girls sometimes do the same thing for, could even be progesterone or other types of things. But he is a big fan of trying to balance those things, right? Because then your nutrition is better, your workouts are better, your muscle gains are better. So we're trying to balance hormones. And one thing he mentioned to me is that it's almost impossible to get enough testosterone in our food as a man, as a male to get enough testosterone from the food we're eating because of all of the crap that's in the food, starting from when we're kids. So
Yeah.
I keep going, but I love that you connected it to energy and mental health and stress, because I think food, it does so much more than we think it does in
Oh,
our
yeah.
bodies.
I mean, food is medicine, food is energy, food is love, food is comfort. Why do we reach for things that, why do some people have a sweet tooth and they may reach for dessert when they're feeling stressed out? It's probably because it reminds them of a time when they were kids, and they have an association with desserts and maybe a special time with the family, maybe the holidays, maybe something with their grandmother, maybe something with their mom. They something that smells and may remind them of that time period. So food is more than just fuel for your body, right? And I think that one of the things that I teach that makes such a difference for people is just having that awareness and that connection. So, you're talking about testosterone, that it's hard to get what you need. But it's not just because the food, especially the foods here in the US, might not have the nutrient density to give us everything that we need in an amount that makes sense, meaning within normal meal portions. But it's also our lifestyle, it's our lifestyle, our environment, all of that as well, because especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're going super hard, you're just burning more too. And
Yep.
so in order to keep up with what your body needs, there is only so much that your body from a digestive place can really take in. And also, if you're not in a place of receiving, it limits your nutrient intake. And so that is why doing the 444, or, I was talking about gratitude earlier, and
Yeah.
this is something that I'd love to share with your audience because it's so simple. Kids can do it. You can be, if there are kids listening, all the way up to your parents, your grandparents, anybody can do this. It's so simple, right? So let's say you have a gratitude practice already. And if you don't, you can start one, right?
Yep.
Anytime. And let's say you wake up in the morning and you have your journal, you write out the 5 things that you're grateful for. Or let's say you just go through it in your head, right? And you kind of sit with each and you're grateful for your parents or your partner or your dog, or I don't know, your favorite pizza you're going to treat yourself to tonight, whatever it is, right? Let's take it one step further. And I just want you to pick, it doesn't have to be all 5, just maybe 2, 1 or 2, maybe 3. And for each one of those things, just sit with it and think about that person that you love, that you're grateful for, until you have a physiological response. So you can smell your partner's perfume or cologne. You can just smell them. They have a smell. You can feel the warmth of them next to you. Or you're talking about your favorite food, you can almost taste it. You start to kind of salivate. Or, whatever it is, just pick 1 or 2 things and connect with that in gratitude until you have a physiological response. Now, take that connection. So now we've done what we've connected your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your physical with that very, very simple, 15-second extra practice that we did when we're going through gratitude. Now I want you to take that feeling, because you've connected with, you can feel it. You don't just have to think it, you feel it, right? Now you're going to take that and you're going to go into your kitchen. And when you do your coffee or tea or your lemon water or your food, you're now putting that energy into what is going to go back into your body, or what's going to go into someone else's body that you love. And so even just that intentionality, just that, like, think about Dr. Emoto, just that energy, that love and appreciation, that honor, that gratitude that you're giving, you're now infusing your food or your beverage, whatever it is that you're putting back into your body with it, charges you up, charges up whoever is around you. I mean, think about that. Think about that recipe that you love that your grandmother used to make or something, and she can give you the exact thing. She swears that there's nothing missing from the ingredient list, but it doesn't taste the same. It's her energy that went into it. It's her love. And so
Wow.
we all know this. We just forget, right? And so when you do that, you're also putting your body into a state when you're being intentional just for that moment, like we just did with the breath work. You're putting your body into the state where it's now ready to receive. So you will receive more nutrients when your body is in this parasympathetic state, even if it's lemon water, or tea or whatever it is, because you just took this moment to be like, oh wait, I'm just going to put that energy that I had when I felt so deeply in love with my partner, I'm going to just put that energy into this tea or into this smoothie. Your body is shifted. And so your digestive system is now in this place to receive. Your entire system is in a place to receive. It's not in this like flight, fight, anxious mode. And so you're actually able to process, digest that, and receive the nutrients better. And there's science behind it. I don't have all the
Oh, I know. I
this, but
know.
you know it. This is what you do. It's part of what you do. You know it. So that's something that, anyone can do at any age, at any time. You do that. So if you're going to put something into your body, just think, I'm going to put love and good energy and positive vibes back into my body. Here I can do it. I can just vibe this up and it goes back into your body or into someone else's body.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I've seen, there are lots of studies on humans and animals. This is beyond a shadow of a doubt that mental energy, stress, where your mindset's at, and the type of energy that's going to your body affects diet. It affects nutrition. It affects the nutrients that get absorbed through your villi and your gut all the way through. Like it literally affects it. And to a not just a small degree. I mean, I've seen studies of mice that are under incredible stress that are fed the same amount of food.
And
That
they're so malnourished.
yeah, same light, try to get them to sleep the same amount. But they're just under a stress condition for long periods of time versus a control group. And over and over and over, all of their markers, blood pressure, just think about it. Like what happens to your mitochondria when you're stressed? What happens to your villi? What happens to your cell structure? What happens to your T cells? What happens to your GABA nervous system that's unable to trigger? What happens to your gut bacteria that start dying off and getting sick? Like there's so much that happens, and we wonder why. Okay, if stress increases your blood pressure and your heart rate, and the literal temperature in your body just by thinking, why would you not then think that it affects nutrients in your body and your gut, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. I'm just making sure for all of you people out there who don't understand that good energy actually creates good nutrition. There's actually a ton of science, and it is profound how much it's connected, but yet we ignore that all the time. I talk to people all the time that just say, no, I'll just eat this way. And I'm like, okay, well, you're building trauma with your lifestyle. And
People just, I think we just have to keep reminding people and keep educating people on it. And, unfortunately, sometimes something has to go wrong before someone opens up their minds and open up their hearts and, they're willing to receive. And I think that happened a lot last year, in 2020, because, people really had an opportunity during COVID to take ownership of their own bodies, of their health and their immune system. They really have that opportunity, and we still do. We still have that opportunity because we are. It's one of the things that I didn't learn until later was that we're superpowers. We really are. You're a biotech. I mean, look at we're biohackers. All these cool devices. What is the most complex machine out there? We are. The human body. And so we forget that because we wake up, our bodies just kind of do what we need to do. We eat, sleep, but all the things, and we just kind of like take that for granted. But if you think about it, what our bodies do for us with the very little that we really do in relation to what the body is doing is profound. And so I think that sometimes we just need to remember that. And just like how you would treat, if someone gave you a, I don't know, $500,000 car, you'd probably treat it a certain way. And so, we just need reminders that our bodies are priceless, and sometimes we just have to treat it how it should be treated.
Joe Polish has this amazing analogy. What if you had this $1 million racehorse, that
Mhm.
made you $1 million every time it raced for you? Would you feed it junk food? Would you keep it up late at night? Would you exert it and hurt its tendons? And would you treat it like crap? Would you talk good to it, or would you encourage it, or would you yell at it? Would you talk bad to it? Would you whip it? You're the $1 million racehorse. Your
Yes.
body is the $1 million racehorse. So treat it like you would a racehorse. Make sure it gets incredible sleep. Make sure that you're encouraging it. Make sure it gets the best nutrition possible. Make sure that it's in a great environment to succeed, right? Like, you're the $1 million racehorse. That's
Yeah, no,
toe polish.
I hadn't even heard that, and that's so good. I'm using that. I'm giving him credit, but I'm using it because it's a great analogy, and I think that people where it gets complicated because there are pesticides and there's all these things, and I'm just like try and keep it really simple. Just I talk a lot about eating all the colors of the rainbow. In Culinary Alchemy, it's about covering the whole span because we're talking about your organ systems and we're talking about your chakra systems, which align with the colors of the rainbow. And we just have 7. We have more chakras than that, but we just stick to the 7 basic ones. And so if you don't know everything, that's okay. But just try throughout the course of your day, eat all the colors of the rainbow in whole foods. So, and
So not like Cheetos.
yeah, so not packaged stuff, yeah, definitely not. I have to be very specific now because someone's like, well, Skittles. And I'm like, no, not Skittles.
Starburst. Yeah.
Something that came from Mother Nature.
Very good. Eating
Yeah.
the entire rainbow throughout the day. So name a few of these things. Like what's a good day for you? Things that you're talking about. You talked about roots. I heard that.
Yeah, like roots and greens. Like think about a really beautiful salad, even if you're not a salad person, but that's like a good visual, right? You've got greens in there, you've got maybe some reds, maybe that's like some berries or pomegranate seeds, or maybe some beets, and then you've got orange, and that could be carrots or sweet potatoes. You think about what else is yellow. There's bell peppers, those are in red, greens, orange, yellows. Just think about that. Think about a beautiful salad, even if you don't like eating salads, right?
Right.
Just think about when you see a beautiful salad, all the things are in it. Just try and hit every one of those groups of vegetables or fruits in a day. And it doesn't have to be in one meal. If you can do it in a meal, awesome. But if you can't, and you're having bananas and blueberries or something in the morning, you've hit 2 colors already, right? And so, and kind of remind yourself and reward yourself that way. So you've got 7 colors you've got to hit. And obviously I'm a big fan of greens, so try and make that, bigger consumption. But root vegetables are great. Like I said, carrots or sweet potatoes, mineral rich foods. They're also great for grounding, not just energetically, but also they're full of magnesium and these minerals that we need that actually really help to calm our nervous system, and
Mm-hmm.
they help our brains, and so they're great that way too. And yeah, so just keep it really really simple. I can go through all the food groups, or I could just say make sure you eat the rainbow in whole foods, and that's the easiest thing to remember. That makes it less complicated.
That's beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about Culinary Alchemy. So I know you're giving some of the core principles here, but what is the product? What's the program? How can people get involved?
So Culinary Alchemy is my practice. That's my private practice that I work one-on-one with clients. It's just what I call it because it's just that combination, that method that I do.
Got it.
And so that's really, again, integrative and functional nutrition. So we've got the science. I have people run all the labs, do a pretty comprehensive intake. And then I do energy work. So I kind of do a read on their spiritual body as well. And so what you get is a protocol that's really comprehensive, addressing truly like your mind, body, and your soul, in terms of like the foods you can choose from that help what your goals are, help you meet your goals. The other programs are I have a 28-day, it's like a reset program, an ultimate health reset, and that's where you will stress less, sleep better, and then just as a byproduct, you will slim down because you're not holding all that inflammation in about 28 days. And so that's something that's powered through an app, and there's a meal plan and supplements that address your adrenals and your brain, and a little bit of your gut, and also just sleep. That's hopefully we're launching in the next, by the end of this month.
Okay.
Beginning of next month. We had a little bit of a delay with our manufacturers, but so there's that. And then, we also have Just Add Water, which is another company that I have. It's powders, super nutrient dense superfoods. And the tagline for that is simplify your self-care. So it's like everything that you need in a day in this little packet. And you're now going to have it in canisters. So that's got all these greens, because I can't stop talking about greens.
Yeah.
All your antioxidants. And it's also got some vegan protein in it too. So it comes from organic yellow peas. And I have there's a couple different flavors, and that's sort of like a mix and match in a canister, so you can play with it. But that's
I love
another
it.
way to get everything that you need. So there's that. And
And
then
so,
the mastermind about the courses later.
and we'll
um,
and we'll put the links in show notes. But what's the main site that people can find the programs at?
because you froze. Is that me?
Oh, you're back.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So my website is serenaloves.com, and then Instagram and all our other platforms are pretty much, I think all of our, yeah, it's Chef Serena Poon. I
Okay.
think Clubhouse is the only thing that's different. That's Serena Poon, but I'm primarily on Instagram.
Perfect.
And so that's where people can find me, send me a message, best places.
Perfect. Okay. So that's where everybody should go right now. I gotta wonder though, I have a question. What is it like working with celebrities? This is probably one of the biggest questions that people ask you, but what kind of, what are some trends that you've heard, or do you have an interesting story of working with celebrities? What have you realized in this world? Because you work with some of the most incredible people in the world, and you help them with their nutrition, and you help them with their food, their spiritual health, everything. So what is it like working with these people?
Well, I mean, I think I've had the opportunity to work. Well, first, I mean, it depends who you're talking about. I've worked for Hugh Hefner, so he was, um, the founder of the Playboy Mansion. So it's thing working for Hef, and then I've worked for Jerry, who's the producer for everything from Top Gun to Pirates of the Caribbean to Kerry Washington to Kanye. I've worked for a lot of people, so I think it really depends on the personality of the person. But um, I treat everyone the same, because celebrities they're just like us. I mean, you guys have been talking about the body. Like, everyone's body is made up of the same cells.
Yep.
So first of all, they're the same. But I would say that some of the demands that they have are a bit more challenging, because because they're very, public, and they're very high profile. So they don't get to relax as much, when they walk out that front door. There's always people watching. And I think that that's super challenging, because just imagine you just started off the day wrong, had a bad day, when maybe you got into a fight with your partner at breakfast, and now you've got to leave the house, and it's your day off. So you're going to do whatever you want, and you don't want anyone to bother you. But if you're a high profile person, chances are you're going to walk out the door, and there's going to be a whole line of people outside the door. So, I think working with grounding and balancing it and clearing and really giving them the support they need, their physical body, the support they need, meaning they need nutrient dense, high quality, but nutrient dense, because sometimes they don't have time. Just like entrepreneurs, I work with a lot of peak performers, and you have so many things on your plate. You've given yourself 30 minutes to eat, maybe, or you're trying to eat. So giving them what they need in that small period of time is helpful. And then just really, I think, having some compassion, for the fact that, let's say it's an actor or an actress or someone in the music industry, they may spend all day outside of the house on set or something, and they need to be one way. They may literally need to be a different person if that's what their character demands, right?
Yeah.
Then they clock out and they go home, and now they've got to be mom or wife or husband or dad or whatever, and be them. And that, if you think about that, that's like a whole different level of like just being centered and awareness and balance of your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual body. And
Yeah.
so I think that because I'm able to see that, and I help them with that balance, and working on their energy centers with the help of food has been really, really profoundly helpful for some of my clients. And so I would say that's something I really have to like dive into more with some high profile people, as opposed to someone that might not have the same demands in their day-to-day life or in their professional life. But even if it's not like, I would say anyone who has a high profile or high visibility,
Yeah.
you know, what that's like. So
That's great. Yeah, I think you're right. This is, for me personally, why I sometimes shy away from spotlight. I try to keep it as low profile as possible because I want to have, 25 businesses that are changing the world. And I don't want to walk out of my house and have something crazy happen and can't be at peace, can't be myself, can't hang out. There's a lot of reasons why fame it's a double-edged sword. It's an incredible access that you can gain. It's also an incredible nightmare at times. For some of my close friends who are very, very famous, trust me, it's not always rainbows and red carpets. So
and you see it, so right, and you see that, and so for me, working with them, my goal and my goal, and also why I feel like I'm there, is just to help them find that balance, to help them take the edge off of the swords. And so they can, they worked really hard to have what they have and to really be able to enjoy that, even though there are some of these challenges that come with having that. So how do we balance that? Like, how do we clear, and release the things that don't serve? So yeah, so that's
I love it. You walk around on air. It's amazing. People can tell. I mean, if you release and you ground more than almost anyone I've ever met, and it's very cool to see. And I think a lot of people don't know how other people get there. But hopefully in this last hour, people would see that you can help them with living this type of a lifestyle. I love the 5 things you mentioned: food, nutrition, family, positivity. And I think the last one was travel. That is,
travel for me was
yeah, you said that was school out of school. And I agree. Travel for me changed my life in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I think anyone listening who sees what I see in you, and who wants that type of a lifestyle, please get over to serenaloves.com. Check out coaching one-on-one with Culinary Alchemy, and the 28-day program is also there. I want people to check that out. And then we will get the mastermind coaching program out in our notes as well.
I'll let you know. And I just want to say one thing before we wrap up. It wasn't always like sugar fairies and unicorns and rainbows. You guys, I have to really, really honor each one of us, and myself as well, as that there's definitely dark moments, and they're tough. And if you once you dive into my story and go into my profile, I started to share a few of those. But the important thing to remember is that they're all really learning moments. Like, the gift is right behind what's in front of you. And sometimes we get stuck with like what's right in front of us. But if we can look right past them, that's really where the gifts are, and like where the opportunities are. So yeah, just wanted to share that I think I got here because of the tough times,
Yeah. Yeah. They make you who you are. That's for sure. Irritated irritated oysters make pearls. I've always loved that.
So true. Such a good reminder. I'm getting all these. I have to, and that I'll give you credit for. So, Joe Polish, Scott, these are some great analogies. People remember.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, so we told everyone where to go to find you. I'm very excited that you did this. Thank you again.
Oh no, thank you. You're the best. Really.
I have one last question.
Okay.
What is the best advice you've ever been given?
Okay. There's like 2, but
you can give 2. There's no rules.
2. Okay, so 2. Both clients, much older, so they're also like mentors. One is from Jerry Bruckheimer, and he was telling me a story about Will Smith, and how Will Smith got started and on his journey and his roller coaster before he was the Prince of Bel-Air. That was the name of the show, right?
Fresh Prince, yeah.
Fresh Prince. Okay. So he told me, he said, listen, you can fail 1,000 times, but you only need to succeed once. And he's like, just remember that, like, you only need to succeed once. And so he's just like, you never give up. You never give up because you only need to do it once. You don't have to do it 1,000 times, because one success leads to another. So that was advice from Jerry. And then Gary Marshall, who was a client of mine, who was also like my grandpa, he was the director of Pretty Woman and all these Princess Diary movies and, shows back in the 70s, like Happy Days or Mork and Mindy. His advice to me was never disappear. So when things get rough and sometimes life can be overwhelming, we have a tendency to isolate ourselves or want to crawl into a cave and kind of stay there. And, we all kind of fall into those places sometimes when things are tough. And I'm sure Scott included, like, it's just the up and down, especially when you're an entrepreneur, there's high highs and then low lows, and it just happens. And he said, never disappear. And by him saying that, he's saying don't ever disappear. It's not just don't disappear and just go dark, but also remember that there are people that love you, that you always have family, even if it's not related, that you have family, you have community, you have people that are here to support you. So do not disappear, because we can't help you if you disappear, and we're here to help you. And that was during a tough time where I was like in between these surgeries, and it was definitely an up and down of a dark space for me. And I would disappear because I didn't want to burden people. But his whole thing was like, do not disappear. Just a reminder that we're all connected and we're all here to support each other, and we all rise together. So yeah, so those are my 2 pieces of advice that I literally live by.
Amazing. I love that. I'm writing both of those down. Thank you. Do not disappear. I don't ever disappear. We see you. If you're listening to this, we love you. We see you. We thank you for being here with us. You're valuable and you're loved. Yes. And the other one is, you can fail 1,000 times, but you only have to succeed once. That's brilliant. And for anybody listening to this, just keep going. That's it. It's as simple as that. So thanks again, Serena. You're a gem. I'm so honored to be your friend. And
love you guys. Love your community. Love you. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening. We'll check you on the next time we meet at the podcasts. Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.